the People's Podcast. What's up, y'all? This is DJ Busby.
And it's your boy JKD.
And this is the People's Podcast, and we're back with another episode. My God, do I feel way better than last week. Honestly, I'm so happy.
Your eyes are like this the whole time.
I was well tiny-eyed the entire episode. I was listening back to that like, bro, I sound fatigued. This is ridiculous. So I was low-key happy that, you know, it was just an episode where we just said stories. But we back with another one.
Yep.
Wicked show. The momentum is crazy. We want to thank everybody for all your continuous, tremendous support, liking the shows, watching them even, sharing the link, telling a friend. You know, I just want to say thank you guys, and let's keep it up. Let's keep the numbers running.
I'm still getting messages from people saying, like, you know, like you guys are still, like, you know, even though you guys are still helping the community, you guys still have that fun side to you. So they're like, keep it up.
Facts. And a review that I got the other day, I went to lunch with somebody and they said, you know, I used to listen to the pre-line, but I think it was about 20 episodes and they just deaded it because they're like, I'm not really in the scene like that anymore. So you guys are just sharing stories about that stuff. And it didn't really appeal to me. But the content you guys are giving now, it's like changing my life. So I'm continuously locked in.
Nice.
I said, that's amazing to hear. And we just want to be able to touch the lives of our whole community. And the podcast is going in that direction.
Yep.
So with that being said, we want to welcome our special guest of the day. If you guys are not familiar with him, he goes by the name on Instagram of Travelwithpapi, a.k.a. Andre.
Right.
And, you know, I met this brother. He was the guy who I was speaking about in a previous episode where I had a Zoom conversation with him during leading up to the end of 2021.
Right.
Or no, it was early 2022, but we spoke and I found out he was into stocks, crypto, investing, period, and just that sort of lifestyle. And seeing him in a fit, you would never expect this guy who's flying around the place, dread swinging, bubbling big, y'all,
with a bucket over his head, you know,
is into these things. So I was exceptionally surprised when he was like explaining the things to me in like layman's terms and was able to break it down instead of me hearing something about quantitative easing. Over my head. I don't know nothing about it.
Is it still over your head?
It's still over my head. I just figured out what the blockchain is. But want to welcome my brother, Travelwithpapi.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
Thank you for being here, man. How are you first? Big fan.
Same thing. Used to watch the Pre-Line podcast.
Dope.
Okay.
That kept me entertained, especially during the pandemic. So shout for that.
Okay.
Nah, not a problem, man. We appreciate that. I know you would always message me like, yo, that was a wicked episode, this and that.
I was tuned in. For
sure. Yeah. No, thank you. So it's full circle. Now you're actually here, sitting here with us.
Right.
So before we get into the wealth side of things, the investment side of things, as I said, your Instagram handle is Travelwithpapi. Yeah. So the key word there, travel.
Yep.
Unless the ladies are watching and they like the poppy part, but that's another podcast. The travel part. So talk about that name, Travelwithpapi, and what you're involved in.
First off, I want to say big up to my moms. Rest in peace to my dad. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be traveling because they sacrificed a lot for me to even travel. So I was out the womb, my mom was carrying me all over the place. She was one of those parents that didn't want to travel without her kids. Yeah. So I've been going back home seeing kids as far as I can remember. And she sacrificed as much as she could do. We used to do like a whole bunch of road trips and little mini vacations, and that's what like sparked the travel enthusiasm.
Nice. So you just genuinely enjoy being able to travel, because I know some people really don't like it.
Right.
I don't know what's wrong with them, because I get tired of staying in one place at one time for too long. So, and the world's huge. Like you just explore it, so much to see. So that really changed my life. Is just traveling. So
absolutely. And you know, I would say the same. Like at first, I was like that. I didn't really care to travel too much. But up until I got to the point where I started traveling for DJing, and it really opened my eyes to the fact that there is a whole new world out there in so many different areas of the globe. It was like, it's mind-blowing to see that there's like different walks of life. And on top of that, places that are even better, and not necessarily financially better, but just living situation and, you know, talking with people. It's better walks of life out there.
Definitely.
So it's dope to see that. So
that's how spoiled we are too. Like little things like hot water. Like my aunt's house in back St. Kitts, there's no hot water. So when I come back home, I'm thankful that I have a water heater in my house because I hate showering cold water.
Bro.
So little things like that. Even like having an air conditioner in your house. Like
True.
you just turn it on whenever you're hot. Some places you just gotta sit in the heat and just bear with it. So that's one thing travel's done for me.
I'm a city boy. I went Maruga, South Trinidad. I had to bathe with a margarine bucket that was filled with, the big bucket filled with cold water in the hot sun. And I'm like, what am I doing right now? Bring me back home. What, like buckets? This is 2018 right now. What am I doing? But anyway,
too privileged.
In fact, I think we all are. Yeah. Just our living situation, period, is a privilege. So what about you, JKD? How are you with traveling? I know you've been places like Japan.
I never really started getting to travel until I was 17. When my I think the first place I ever been to, like when I went on a plane, was to Cuba, and ever since then I've just been traveling all over. Like we went to Japan. I think that was the furthest we went to. London, Jamaica, Barbados. Yeah, bro, travel is nice. I wish I had money to travel all the time now, but it is what it is.
We're getting to that part of the podcast. Don't worry. So traveling, and one thing I noticed about what you do on your social medias is you like to advocate for like showing people that there's good times to buy in when it comes to traveling. There's ways of doing it where you don't have to break the bank in order to travel. So elaborate a little more on that.
So one of my favorite ways is collecting points on credit cards.
Gotcha.
But I would advise people when getting credit cards, know your spending habits, know your limit within it. So I would say is TD, Aeroplan, and American Express Platinum is the cards I use. Okay. I prefer the Platinum because you get more points. So how it works is when you sign up, you get a bonus of 100,000 points.
Gotcha.
Which is equivalent to about a flight to, I think, England, more or less, anywhere in the Caribbean. Like
so 1,300.
Yeah.
1,300.
You have to spend 3,000 the first 3 months. So average person lives on about $1,000. So all my purchases are on that card.
Gotcha.
And I swap everything at the end of the month.
Okay.
My first mistake when I turned 18, I got that card.
It was just
swipe, swipe.
I think that was like
that's a common thing.
That's a common thing with us.
Yeah.
Because when I got my first card out of college, I was like, I can use this. Swipe.
Facts. And they had me at travel because I think the lady at the bank went through my transactions. She's seen Air Canada or something. She's like, oh, we can get you a travel card.
Okay.
And she's like, you can get points. I was like, okay, but I didn't know you had to pay it back.
Right. They don't tell you that.
They don't tell me. They didn't tell me nothing. So I was in debt for like 5 years paying off. Yeah, so it wasn't easy, but
that's why I gotta love my mom. She made sure. Like you see that card, every dollar you put, make sure you put it right back.
Right.
And she always made sure, especially at a younger age, like 16 to 18, she's like, make sure every dollar. It was only like a one time. My thing was that my amount was at 3,000. Okay. I wasn't working like that.
Right.
I didn't know how I was gonna pay it back.
Yeah.
And eventually I ended up paying that back, but my credit score has been amazing since.
Okay, wicked.
That's something our community definitely needs to hear, especially the younger guys.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
So what are alternative or different methods of saving money when you're going to travel?
I would definitely say, depending how much you make an hour, everyone's wages are different.
Yeah.
But factor in at least 10 to 20% of your wages. Put in what I call a travel fund. So you can just open a separate bank account. Those low interest bank accounts that they offer, just stash some money in there and then stack up, save as much as you can. Or if you want, you could do half. You can stack up half, put the rest on half another credit card, but make sure you pay it off. You got to be disciplined in that term right.
Got you. So something I heard recently, on top of saving, something people should do as well is figure out how to make that money. So as opposed to cutting back on your lifestyle and saving for those things, try and transition your mind to think about, okay, what can I do now to make that, to afford that? And you sent me something I thought was very, Jerron, you sent me something very profound when it came to traveling. I think that was a Steve Harvey thing.
So
elaborate on what you sent me.
So basically I sent him a video saying like Steve Harvey was saying basically, in your lifetime you should at least buy a first class ticket or a business class ticket because it'll train your mindset to that you don't want to ever go back to just normal seating. You know what I'm saying? And ever since I saw that video, bro, I've just been like, that's been on my mind. It's like, yo, I'm like, once I get to that stage where I can purchase a first class flight or just a business class flight, bro, I'm not going back to sitting with this guy in the back.
Hold on, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
First of all, I'm the one that follows you to preferred seating, and I'm still scratching my neck like, God damn, an extra $100. Nah, man. I'll squint. I'll sit like this, but I don't want to sit like that for no 13-hour flight to Dubai.
Yeah,
facts.
But still, I'm sitting there like scratching my neck over preferred seating. I'm thinking, first class, bro. That's like my whole trip combined for my seat.
True.
So I get it. It's
Yes.
a dope thing to think about. And to that point that I was saying earlier, maybe that's something where it's like work so hard
To get right.
that somebody's buying you that
Right.
flight.
Right.
And then once you're in there, you're like, I want to be here.
Right. It doesn't have to be like, again, I was talking to Tasha too. It doesn't have to be first class. It can be business class. Like
Gotcha,
means
gotcha.
the front of the plane, right?
Yeah.
Spend a little bit more money to get to the front of the plane.
So first class are the ones with the recliner?
First class is the ones where like
Got a
it's
bed.
$20,000 a flight, bro.
20,000?
Bro, it's enough money.
got a bed, open bar.
Everything, bro.
That's easy for
Restaurant.
Steve Harvey to say.
Yeah.
Exactly, because he has money.
But I get it. And doing those things is important. You know, training your mind to want those things. And
Right.
again, work hard towards them.
Right.
So we're talking about flight. There's other things like living situations. So what would you recommend? There's alternatives like hotel, Airbnb. What are your recommendations when it comes to that?
So when I started traveling, I started from the bottom, like hostels.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it if you have like a bougie lifestyle. Hostels can get grimy, but I had to start from somewhere. So hostels are a start. You can get a place depending where you're traveling to for like $15 a night,
Right.
but you have to share with other people.
True.
I'm kind of past that. To be honest, I got over that. So the next thing I would recommend is probably doing an Airbnb, which everyone is very familiar with.
Right.
Yeah.
Me personally, I feel like I'm a bit bougie now.
Right.
I like nice hotels. I like to sleep well. I
Yeah.
stayed in a lot of places that are just grimy and nasty, but
Right.
it's just a give and take. Like if you're gonna dish out money, you're gonna live a lavish lifestyle. What is the word I'm looking for? You pay for what you get.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you pay for a nice hotel, you're gonna get a nice hotel. You get nice sleep.
Got you.
If you pay for a shit place, you're gonna get
Right.
a shit place.
When I hear hostel though, because when I went to Japan, we stayed in a hostel, but their hostels are like
yeah, there's some places that have nice hostels. Like
Right.
Berlin,
right,
that is like a 4-star hotel.
right.
So there's
right.
some places that have nice hostels, and then like for example, France or Italy,
Right.
it's not the greatest.
Okay,
Amsterdam,
okay.
not the greatest. You'll have a great time,
Right.
Mm.
Right.
not the greatest
Okay,
accommodations.
When I think of hostel, I think of that movie where they're killing everybody.
That's your.
That's why I never even subscribed to that idea. Y'all do your thing. I'll be good.
That movie destroyed the industry for a good like 5-10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
It's
I
just
feel like-
coming back up now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like we have a hostel right here in Pickering.
Which one?
I put Judgment up in that, what is that? Down there on Whites, under Whites.
Say a word, bro.
Bro, we were in there. It was like a crackhead hotel.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It was crackheads fighting.
Yeah.
We walking along the road, this crackhead following us. I'm like, bro, I'm 2 streets away from my house. What is happening?
Right.
I didn't even know these kind of places existed.
Right. Right.
But there's Airbnbs. That in itself too could be, a flip, or how do I say that could be a risk in itself, because we had our situation
Yes.
when we went to London as a group.
Right.
Boy, we get there, the place is dusty. You could literally wipe your finger along the fireplace,
Yeah.
look at it, and bare dust on your finger. Open the fridge. There's a moldy fridge, and there's a moldy salad in the fridge.
Jesus.
Get upstairs to the
The
rooms.
bathrooms were
The bathroom smelled like pee. We were like, we paid bare pounds for this.
Yeah.
Money.
Wow.
So we had to end up calling, and we barely scraped through with the refund and all that.
Not just that, we were in the dead center of the hood.
Tottenham.
You're in Tottenham. Oh, that's a
Know anything about London?
that's a hole for
We
real.
were top boys out there.
Yeah, in it. And I'm looking at the map, think like I'm arranging it like how Toronto is, and kind of like mapping out. Okay, this distance to this doesn't
Right.
seem that bad.
Right.
We were a good hour and a half away from the action.
That's one thing I hate about London. It's huge. Like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get somewhere it just takes forever.
Yeah,
And
you got to use a tube.
you could be walking and then you'd make a left, you're in the hood.
Right.
So
right.
yeah, but Tottenham, damn.
Yeah. So I mean, we had our situation. I'm sure not every Airbnb is like that,
Right.
but that turned me off.
I've had my bad experiences too. So it's something you live and learn. I'm very picky, so I read through all the reviews.
Okay.
If they ain't got more than 10 reviews and they're not all good, I'm not staying.
Okay.
So share some of those bad experiences. Like, what have you dealt with?
When I was in Paris, it was me, my brother, my cousin, and they had some nice photos, but they were photoshopped. and
Oh,
not
wow.
realizing until I got there.
Yeah.
So it was 3 of us, and it was literally a space, probably up to where your laptop is,
Yeah.
Okay.
the monitors.
Yeah.
And it was just a couch, and they promoted it as a bed.
Wow.
So I had to sleep on the couch, and then my cousin slept on the floor.
Damn.
But then we were broke at the time, so it was
Right,
like
right, right. You had-
we have nowhere else to go, and Paris is
Right.
already expensive as it is. So that's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
the worst place. And there was mice.
Damn.
Yeah. But luckily we didn't hear it or see it till the last day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was probably the worst.
So as you said, you get what you pay for, and
Yeah.
to me, like that's where the hotel thing comes in, where it's
Mhm.
like you're getting, like you get what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Right.
So even though you have to pay that, you're getting like the pictures are what it is
Exactly.
to an extent.
Right.
Exactly.
Sometimes they say like a double bed, and you get there and it's like a shoebox.
Time.
So you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I get that. Let's talk about as well spending habits.
Mhm.
So that could be something I notice when I go on trips. For the first few trips I went on in my life, I never factored that aspect into the budget.
Yeah.
Right.
I always budgeted, and again, I was there too. I didn't have the money for these things,
Yeah.
and I expense like Dubai. I expense London for myself as an investment.
Right.
But you get to these places now, and then you have to buy things. You have to buy food, souvenirs, etc.
Getting
So,
around. Yep.
what are your tips when it comes to that?
I would use, for example, Google Maps
Okay.
to know like where you want to go and how much it's gonna cost. Because you
Yeah.
can use like the Uber calculator. Personally, I prefer to use Uber when I'm traveling. It's more convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
So I use the estimator that they have, and then I just add that to my budget, and then add another $200 on top of it.
Right.
Just in case.
Especially food, I like to eat, so I factor that in. Everything is Google. I'm a student of Google, so
Right.
everything I research how much food is in which city I'm visiting, average, factor that in, add another $200 on top of that.
Smart.
Swipe, swipe,
Yeah, yeah.
swipe,
Yeah, and
swipe.
then figure it out later.
When I get back home,
Right.
reap the consequences. So now I just do my math, go on Google, see how much it is to move around, eat.
Right.
If I want to do maybe a party or so, factor that in. So,
True.
Got you.
but now I'm more chill when it comes to traveling. I'm just doing my little sightseeing. I'm not really doing too much because I'm factoring the budget.
Yeah.
Right.
And you just came back from somewhere, no?
Yeah, I was in Colombia.
He said that with the accent. Yeah. That's how you know he just came back. So what's going on over there? How is it?
Colombia is one of those places that I can see myself living in, to be honest.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez.
I've been there like 5 times already.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cost of living is cheap.
Mm.
Food is fresh.
Right.
People are mad nice. I know they got this stigma about Colombia in its
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
People, that was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's getting much better. They're
Okay.
one of the most innovative cities in South America right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it's just good vibes. Everyone there is happy. Like they have the most, I think one of the most happiest places other than the Caribbean,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Deli, cue up the Narcos soundtrack.
Why you gotta? He just finished saying that. Yo, I was 4 years ago. All my parents died. Remember I had that trip with those waist.
Oh my days.
I had a trip. I should have. No, I would have literally
Yeah.
been in
What-
Colombia right now.
Yeah. Facts.
Had this
Yeah?
trip have gone on.
Mhm.
It was a FET trip to Colombia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was almost in the process of getting booked,
Mhm.
and the whole thing fell apart. They're unorganized or whatever the case
Yeah.
is. But through that process, my parents didn't let me hear the end of that. You gotta know where you're going. This isn't a safe place.
Yeah, I had to hear the same thing too. All of my friends.
Yeah.
All of my friends. So it's not until you go there and you realize, okay, things
Right,
have changed.
right.
Like literally, it's been 40 years since
Right. Right.
the whole shebang.
Exactly.
So.
And on top of that too, it's like how you move when you go to these places.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to G-Way
Right.
with all gold
Right.
on. That's
Facts.
just what it is.
Facts.
If
Yeah.
I go to those places,
Right.
you dress like the commoners
Right.
and you just live your life.
Right.
They're not gonna hold you up just because of what,
Right.
you know.
Exactly.
So we talked about travel. We talked about the flight. We talked about the hotel stay, spending habits. Is there anything else in the traveling field that you would like to shed light on to the people? Like for instance, something like insurance, people don't normally think about.
Yeah, definitely. Travel insurance is super, super, super important. People always sleep on the fact that you can get a little policy that cover you for $1 million for like $35.
Yeah.
So, for example, I met someone. She works in the industry as well too. She went to Florida. Her husband got a heart attack,
Jeez.
and the medical bill was like $100,000.
Wow.
She's a travel agent, so luckily she already knew I need to get travel insurance. So she bought that before.
Right.
Bills were covered. But if she had to come back home to that bill, $100,000 US, she would probably be in the poorhouse because she didn't really have that money. And there's so many stories of that happening over and over, and they gotta do a GoFundMe to raise money when you could have just paid $40
Right.
for a little plan.
Right.
So travel insurance, even if you're going across the border, get travel insurance. If you're going out of province, get travel insurance because some policies don't cover you.
Serious? I didn't even know that.
So like you think your job covers you
Right.
all the time? Not really, because they be changing things in the policy and you don't even know. They don't update you.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I'm not going to reading that
yeah,
article or
just
whatever.
just yeah, save your time, get the $40
Yeah.
insurance.
And to relate it to something, it's kind of like driving when you're under the influence.
Mhm.
Pay your $40 and take a Uber home.
Right.
It's better to pay that $40 than to kill somebody and have to deal with that
Right.
than to get caught with a DUI or something, and then same thing, you're in debt
Right.
for no reason when you could have just paid the
Paid
40.
the $40 to the Uber.
You know, factor these things into your trip. So yeah, besides insurance, is there anything else you could think of that, even if it's like, on the side of like who you go with, choose carefully who you're going with.
Definitely, that's very important. I only roll with a certain amount of people. So
Yeah.
it's my brother, my cousin, and the next version of mine. We roll as a clique. That's probably about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely know who you're traveling with, know their habits, especially when they're intoxicated, what kind of
Yep.
person
Right.
they turn into, because it can end up to a fun night, end up in jail. Because I heard plenty of stories.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Facts.
They do the most sometimes when they travel.
Right.
I don't know what it is. The oxygen's different. I don't know, but some people do the most
Right.
when they
Facts.
travel. So
Yeah.
definitely keep your clique small, especially when traveling. Definitely.
For sure. And like I've had a couple of stories myself where it's like you travel with people and you think they're one way from home, even if they're not like a close friend of yours,
Right.
and they're kind of like high and by in parties.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you travel with them and realize that this person is not who you
Oh, yeah.
expected them to be.
Yeah.
And to that, not only are they not the same person, but when they drink, they're even more of a
Yeah.
completely different
Right.
person.
Yeah. Mm.
And there was one time like I needed the keys to get back in the crib, and this person could not be found in the fet. And like literally, our driver had to go into this party with 10,000 people to find this guy to get the
Holy.
keys for me
God
to
bless
get back
him.
home.
Wow.
And
Damn.
I was livid. And ever since then, I've always been under like the idea of I want to be in control
Right.
of where I am and where I need to go.
Right.
If somebody has to come and open the door for me to get inside where I have to go, I don't like that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But what if something happens to them?
I feel
I'm
you.
in some foreign place.
I feel you on that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
True.
if I have to spend the extra money, I would rather do that and have peace of mind
Right.
than the other.
Can't put the
know?
price on that. Peace of mind, can't put price on that, especially
Yeah.
when traveling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You in foreign, and especially a place that doesn't speak your language,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely have to have those concepts in mind.
Yeah. Because people know how to finesse, especially tourists. They know how to finesse
Mhm.
tourists
Right.
easily.
What's your suggestion in terms of the word finesse? Because that's a big thing in Trinidad.
I have
As
a, I
soon
have a
as they
story.
hear an accent, the doubles price gone up,
I have an interesting story actually.
Oh, yeah?
When I
Sure.
was in Cartagena, their culture's a bit different. So
Okay.
we come from a Caribbean background. When you go to a party and you see a girl winding up, you slide up with
Yeah.
permission, of course.
Yeah.
So in Cartagena, if you do that, it's a lot of prostitutes in there.
Right.
So they charge you for a dance. It's a dance. If you wind up with a girl,
Ah.
it's a dance.
So wait, your stories you got charged?
I got charged. I got finessed. And I was trying to duck, trying to leave, and the girl's like, "Mi gente es ahí." Like she's saying her boss is like right there.
Yeah.
And then it was a big dude. I was like, all right, let me pay this $50 and move on.
Yeah. $50. God
Yeah,
damn.
$50 for a dance.
Nah, bro.
She didn't even have no waistline, so it wasn't even worth it. It wasn't even worth it.
Unrelated, but I have a similar story. Let's just say this was where? Cartagena? Let's just say I was in the Cartagena strip.
You sure? You sure?
Let's just call it Cartagena.
It was Montreal.
Cartagena of Toronto.
Actually, Niagara. But Cartagena.
Oh, even
Okay.
worse, even worse.
I'm in Cartagena in the back room getting my dance. And she's like, "So, yo, you want to get a drink?"
Right.
I'm like she's asking me if I want
Yeah.
to get us a drink.
Right.
So I'm thinking, yeah, you dancing nice on me. Let me get two shots. So I'm like, I tell her, yeah, let's get 2 shots. She leaves now, goes and tells the bartender to get the shots.
Yeah.
Comes back to me and continues the dance. So I pay her now afterwards, and then we go to the bar to get the shots. Give me a bill of like $40-something.
Right.
I'm like, it's 2 shots I ordered. What are you talking about? She's like, yeah, it's like the top of the line Hennessy I ordered. So you got to pay for it. You already ordered it. I'm like, you
She knew what she was doing.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a finesse.
They know what they're doing. But anyway, back to the. I just figured I'd share. Cartagena was fun, you know. I definitely like the words of advice. Now, do you offer services like if people wanted to travel?
Yeah, so I'm mostly focusing a lot on group travel. I like bringing our people out to different places.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I do like book all inclusive, but it's not really my main focus. I really like to do different places, exotic places that, because everyone can go to Jamaica, anyone can book a trip to Cuba,
Facts.
anyone can just book it online. But I'd rather plan something, organize something, give you experience that you can't just go out there and get. So that's kind of my thing. So I focus more on group trips. I like to book villas, get a couple of people together, provide the service, and explore.
Dope.
All inclusive is nice. Don't get me twisted. I like to sprawl out too, but sometimes there's more of the world to see. Than
Facts.
Yeah.
For
Perfect
sure.
balance.
I realized that when I went to Japan. It's like, you know, I'm always, before that I was always going to Cuba. I was always going to Barbados. Like, they're nice, but Japan, like, I actually got to see the country.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So ever since then, I'm just like, okay, I want to go to, you know, Malaysia. I want to go to Singapore. I want to go to those places.
Yeah.
Because I want to see actually how that world is on that side.
It's totally different over there. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Interesting. So where would they, just on the Instagram to contact you, or do you have a platform like to sign up?
So my Instagram is Travelwithpapi, and my website is thehighjourney.com. So you can instantly book some of my trips that I offer there. But the next big trip is Bali.
Oh, nice.
That's the next one.
Okay.
So when you say that, what does that mean? Like for you, or just something that you're booking for somebody?
Something that I'm organizing for
a group trip.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Okay.
So that's gonna be in a couple of months. Planning probably 2023.
Okay.
Because they just opened up, so I don't want to rush things too much. So flight prices are ridiculous right now, so
I could imagine.
things tame down a little bit.
Know.
So give people time to budget and yeah.
So when it comes to that, is this something where you're trying to do like to make it like with the party crowd, or more so like experience the island or the place?
A bit of both. Like I like the perfect balance. Like I like to have a crew that can party but know to behave themselves when it's time to behave. You know, so there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah, Buzz.
When it comes,
You talking to me? Okay. All right. There's certain like, yo, for instance, yesterday I'm DJing at this roller skating party. Why are there two people bubbling and like literally one guy's laying down on the floor like this, and the gal's on the skates broken down on his crotches? I'm like, yo, you can't take our people nowhere. This is a skating establishment. What's going on right now?
it's a family event.
Yeah, I get we're playing Bumba Ben, but Jesus Christ, like there's no need for all that. Like I get what you're saying. Bali, so that's wicked. I might even look into that.
Yeah,
Seriously, I saw that as something that I want to have on my bucket list one day.
Yeah, because
I
that
don't
was
know.
that was a plan for 2020. I thought it was really gonna go on because it's supposed to be for like you know when COVID first hit, you're like, that's okay, it's gonna
2 weeks.
Right.
yeah. So that was actually had everything set. People had their money paid off and everything. So I'm trying to continue. I ain't trying to give up on that. So let's move. So glad that travel is coming back finally. It's been rough 2 years. So
Too long.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, I think we, to an extent, a lot of people take that for granted.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you know, a lot of, especially the elders, are always gonna tell the younger people, like, focus on what you're doing, focus on your work. The traveling will come. But then situations like that happen, and it's like we don't know.
Right.
Like anything's possible.
Yeah.
And that the borders could be locked down for a undetermined amount of time.
Exactly.
So I would say just try and figure it out as soon as you can and fit traveling into your schedule.
Yep.
Like there's no point in working for somebody else 9 to 5, building their dream up.
While
You're
they're-
not doing anything to
Right.
expand yourself.
Exactly.
You know? But yeah, dope information.
What's the furthest you had traveled?
Turkey.
How far is Turkey from here?
Turkey is like borderline Asia.
Okay.
Like it's in Europe, but it's like borderline Asia.
Yeah.
So that's the farthest I've been.
Okay. How long did it take to get there?
Well, I flew up from England.
Oh, okay.
So that took me about 4 hours.
Okay. From England.
From England.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, oh, that 12, 13? Roughly.
Toronto.
Yeah, I think it's about 13-hour flight from Toronto.
Okay.
If you do nonstop.
Right.
What about you? Japan?
13 hours.
Japan?
Yeah.
And then me, yeah, 13, Dubai.
Yeah.
How was it?
Dubai?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That blew my mind. And I was that one was really the one where it showed me that there's a whole new world out there. And we shouldn't just sit here and think we're privileged and we have it all. I actually looked at that as like we're behind.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And when I went there, it really opened my. I didn't know nothing about no Dubai.
Yeah.
You know me. I don't know nothing.
You don't read. It's okay.
I don't know not like that book smarts and like those things. I don't know none of that.
Yeah.
So I never even looked into Dubai.
Right.
But then when that opportunity came up, I still didn't even look into it.
Right.
I was like, let me go. People always say this is a luxurious place. Yeah. Let me just go with a fresh mind, fresh perspective, and just experience it.
Yeah.
When I experienced it and just saw how it was, it's like, yo, we're so behind.
Yeah.
And if you think about their culture, like they're the ones who have it right.
Right.
There's always a misconception of like that side of the world. And
right. Yeah.
when they're dressed a certain way, that's saying one thing. It's nothing like that.
Right. Right.
And that's what, like to your point, get out there, explore, and realize like stuff that happened 4 years ago is not necessarily reflected on today.
Right.
And there's beautiful things in this world that could open your mind to change our world.
Right.
Where we are at home, you know?
Yeah. I just want to say I'm very excited to see a lot of black people traveling compared to when I first started traveling.
Yeah.
We weren't really a subject when it came to traveling.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very happy to see all of us in the airport, different places in the world.
Right. Right.
I love to see it. So keep it up. Also, tourism boards, there are black people traveling. So, you can add some flavor to your advertisements when you're trying to bring people to your countries.
Okay.
White folks are the only people that travel. So, yeah. We out here now.
Yeah, maybe the only ones that take up first class. But even still now, there was one situation that I love seeing it.
Right.
It was a black, I can't remember, like he must have been like late 40s.
Okay.
But he was going into first class. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even a stewardess.
Right.
It was just a regular passenger.
Yes, I remember.
Like, excuse me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if this is, and he put her in her place.
Yeah.
Like he showed her the ticket. Like, no, I'm in first class. Thank you.
As you should.
And sat right down. I'm like, good job.
Yeah, I get that look all the time. Like when I travel, when I go to like the nice resorts, I get that look all the time. I just smile.
Like you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, but I just smile because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
You think I'm not supposed to be here?
Right.
But I'm here.
Right.
So I work just as hard as you do, so I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
Makes it all that much better.
Yeah.
So as we're about halfway through the show, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in once again. Just make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe, share, tell a friend, post it on your socials, all that good stuff. And just get the word out. It's as simple as that. We have somebody now. We always asking for people.
I know. Yeah. I was about to say that.
Airport discount. We got somebody. Somebody. The hotel thing could still go on.
Yeah.
If you work in that field, please. Thank you. Hey, yeah, man. Back to the program.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to shout out before we get back to it?
No.
So we talked about travel, and that was more like the luxurious getaway type of stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely to our people, expand your mind, utilize like the opportunity while you're still alive to experience these things, share stories, pass that down to your further generations, your kids, your grandkids, and keep that ball rolling. Now, as you mentioned earlier, let's talk about how to acquire that money for traveling as well as for yourself and your family. Let's talk about investments. So I mentioned it earlier. I spoke to you, I think it was January, about investing. And at that point, which some people watching this were probably at the exact same point I was, I knew nada about investing. So I want you to explain it to the people, kind of like how you explained it to me, but just like in a similar sense. Imagine that these people have paid all their bills. They have an extra $75 in their account, and they're hearing about this word investment, and they're wondering how to go about doing that.
Yeah, so investing, first and foremost, is one of the most important things you need to do for you and your significant other, or if you have a child. If you have a child and you're not investing, you're doing your child significant damage. You're hurting their future.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really take much to invest. I would definitely say research is important. A lot of people don't like doing that, but you can't put money into something and just hope and pray because it doesn't work like that. Research is very important. So when it comes to investing, when I first got into it, I used to just read the Toronto Star, and I didn't know what the hell it meant because I used to get that paper as a child. I used to see these numbers, these charts, and it just intrigued me. I just like seeing it. So as I got older, I used to watch CNBC a little bit. You know when CB24, they have those like numbers?
Yeah.
I used to watch that all the time. Like, okay, CIBC, I know that company.
Right.
TD, I know that company. But what does that number mean?
Right.
So I got more into it by reading Google. I'm a proud student of Google. I got my PhD from Google. Any little question I have, Google.
Right.
Everything you see in the studio, Google.
Thank you. So that's how it really started. And first, when I was young, I've always been a person intrigued by earning money. I didn't love money, but I loved earning. I love working and getting rewarded for something.
Right.
So when it comes to investing, it's about buying income. So when you're investing, you're buying your time, you're buying your freedom. So I started off with an RSP. So everyone usually starts with RSP.
Right.
So I put money into that, $50. It goes into a hedge fund. It gets invested. You have a
Right.
portfolio manager. He's actively investing it.
Right.
So as he was doing that, I was still learning. And I stumbled upon a few stocks that you're familiar with: Apple, Facebook, Amazon. Those were one of my first stocks I put money in. And just seeing how my money grew, it intrigued me more and more. I want to learn more. So I learned about index funds. And I learned about ETFs, how you can put money into a stock that is ran by the top CEOs in the world.
Right.
So you're pretty much putting your money in the top CEOs in the world.
Right.
So once I've figured that out, that kind of intrigued me more, and I would just add it. So the first thing I would say before investing is to make sure you don't have a lot of debt. That is something that us as a community, we do have, unfortunately, because we're not really taught anything when it comes to finance.
Right.
So debt is a killer, because I've been through it.
Right.
Still paying off for it, not gonna lie.
Right.
So I would say get rid of debt, but learn at the same time. You know? And don't time the market. You can never time the market.
Right.
So, and to take a little bit of a rewind, something that you said stood out was that seeing those numbers on the news and CP24, CNN, or whatever intrigued you. That's usually a deterrent for our people.
Yeah.
It was for me. When I see those charts and stuff, I'm checked out. Back to Soca, back to Xbox, whatever the case is. But like you said, despite those numbers and despite those charts, your money was growing. So even if you don't like them charts, or you don't like numbers, you don't like math, I'm sure you like your money multiplying.
Definitely.
Right? And you touched on the fact that your money was growing. Now, you brought up ETFs, and what was the other one? Index funds. So what are those considered? Is it called hedge funds?
So hedge funds,
or is that something separate?
They manage those.
Okay.
So like Mr. Ian Dunlap, how we explained it, the easiest way is to picture them as an all-star team.
Yeah.
So it's a fund. You have Microsoft, which is your LeBron. You have Apple, which is your Kobe. Then you got Steph, which is Tesla. And you have Facebook, which I would say Luca, and et cetera, et cetera. So those are in one fund. So the more you buy, the more your money grows, because those companies are constantly growing.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much no investment safe, but it's like the safest way to get a return. Because on average, the S&P 500 is about 9.5% annually. Average.
But that's still beating inflation.
Definitely.
And that's the key. Like, especially because I was that person as well. I didn't care about investing. I'm not a risk person. I'm not very risk at all until I have some alcohol in my system. You know? But I wasn't.
Even with that, you're not risky.
Bro, excuse me? You remember last June? Anyway, let me not go down that road. But I'm not risky. But then when I started calculating the numbers and really feeling inflation firsthand, because you always hear it from back in the day, but like I was a kid, I wasn't really.
Right.
So anyway, you're feeling it now. So I'm really studying the fact that, okay, all your prices of everything you have to pay for are going up, but your income is not changing.
Right.
So that means your money's devaluing, it's depreciating.
Right.
In order to get your money up, it's best to invest it.
Right.
And investing it in those places, an ETF is a safer way of doing it.
Yeah.
So like you said, an ETF compiles all of the top companies of their whatever hedge funds choosing, and then you invest into that space. With that being said, you know, I was the guy that kept all of my money in a checking account.
Right.
I was just like, I don't want nobody touching this. Like, I know how to make the money, I'll make it, but I don't want nobody touching this. But you have to really conceptualize too that it's a risk when you're dumping all of your eggs into one basket.
Definitely.
So like, look at Facebook. I'd say Facebook's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Imagine if you dumped all of your money. You had $100,000 sitting there, and you put all of that into Facebook. Right. Y'all had to have heard about Facebook recently, and the L's that they've been taking, and the fact that they're like half of what they were worth a couple months ago.
192, and they were like almost 400.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So dumping all of your eggs into one basket is more of a risk. But again, with risk comes reward or great loss.
Right.
But the less risky but still responsible way is putting it into an ETF.
Yeah.
And the best analogy I heard was off of this guy off of YouTube. I think his name is Abel or something. But anyway, he said that doing that ETF method and investing into that with that being in your portfolio, the only way to lose all of your money or a good portion of that money is if all of those companies went under at once.
At once, yep.
And if that's the case, we are literally in an apocalypse or something like that.
That's exactly what Tasha told me. She said like we're like zombies are coming or Jesus is coming back.
So
it's one of those two.
Yeah.
And at that point, what good is that money to you?
Yeah, exactly.
You better go and find something to defend yourself, my you. You know what I'm saying? But there's no, like, I shouldn't say no possible way because I just said anything's possible. But there's a lot less risk with that, but you're still being responsible with your money.
Right.
Yeah.
You know? So go a little more into that and like the stock market and whatnot.
So the stock market, first and foremost, when people hear the stock market, they hear big gains, quick money. There's no such thing as fast money. Half of these people that are trading that have made lots of money, they have taken lots of L's. I myself, when I got in the market, I've taken lots of L's. Yeah. I've invested in companies that went under. I've invested in companies that are still, you know, so the first stock I've ever bought was Facebook when it first IPO'd. Yeah. And I made some money, but I didn't hold, which is rule one. If you're gonna buy a company, a solid company, hold for at least 5 to 10 years. Okay. You want to gain wealth. You don't want to just make a couple change and then sell. Right. There's no point in that. So that was one of my first mistakes, is buying a company, a quality company at the time, and not holding on to it. So I would definitely say that's the first rule. If you're gonna invest, do your research. Say, if this company folds, will the world fall with it? If your answer is yes, then I would put my money in that company, more or less. That's not my general rule, but it's one of the rules I use. Okay. So like Apple and Microsoft,
literally,
they're not going anywhere. Like their EarPods alone makes up half of the companies that most of the money that these companies make. Apple can triple that with just the AirPod sales alone.
That's a wild thing to think about.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And just like, so for those of you that aren't really into this space and haven't thought about these type of things, just think about this. First of all, there's always the debate about Apple versus. Right. So that in itself is, you know, a indication that you need to pay attention to Apple. Right. So that means a lot of the market has an Apple phone. If not an Apple phone, an Apple product, period. Right. But most people have the Apple phone. Yeah. Fast forward now, think about the fact that Apple has now designed their system that everybody, which is like almost every company that joins the App Store, when transactions are made, Apple gets 30%.
30%.
Think about that. Every company in the world.
That's crazy.
Apple now gets a cut of that sale. They are the cartel. That's Cartagena, Colombia.
That's tech cartel. For real. Them and Microsoft, tech cartel.
So you want to invest in the cartel? Like they're the legal cartel.
Right.
Yeah.
Period. So it's smart to do that. Now I can't remember. I don't think it was brought up, but you mentioned getting rid of debt, which is very important. And then in that time, I like what you said there about studying while you're getting rid of debt. Yeah. So that when you get into the market, you're good. Yeah. But there's a key piece in between that as well that I always hear, which is develop a savings fund as well. So talk a little bit about that and what your opinion is on it.
So me personally, I hate debt. So if I have debt, I want to get rid of it.
Me too.
It's just draining. Like I got to give these people money again at the end of the month. It's just draining. So I'm just trying to get rid of it. So I'm almost done. I'm paying off for my mistakes from when I was a youth. Right. But I'm happy that I learned now than when I'm like 60. Yeah, exactly. So I would definitely say get rid of debt first and foremost. Because you're paying about 19% on average a month on top of the debt that you owe. Right. And the way they have it set up, if you're paying the bar minimum, probably going to take like 20 years to pay it back, depending on how much you owe. Facts. So I'll definitely say get rid of that first. Then get into researching, then get into putting your money in slowly. Like you can even buy fractional shares. Say if you can't afford to buy a whole Apple share, you can buy a fractional share.
And that was my next question. Like I think with our community, people feel like they need to have money to buy a stock, and they need to buy a full stock.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how I thought in terms of stocks.
Yeah.
I didn't know you can buy partial stocks. But yeah, like, even with that, our people are afraid to even spend money, bro.
Yeah.
Especially when they like, even if they do pay off debt, right? And they want to get into stocks, but they're seeing that like Facebook is like worth like what, $3,000 or probably I don't even know how much it's worth, but it's like $4,000 a stock. It's like, okay, I'm not buying it. I don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
So like, I think the knowledge of them researching, they could buy a partial stock is key because not a lot of people know that.
Yeah. If there's one thing that you should know is that the wealthiest people have these things in common. They have real estate, stocks, and business.
There's a reason.
Stocks has been around. We were the first things traded on the market in the first place.
Right.
So we have all the right to be in that regardless. Black people were the first people to trade it, period.
Yeah.
Like that's what they
Round
call
of
it.
applause, bro. Yeah. That's
Okay.
That's a big point.
So we should be all up in that because we were the first property ever being traded.
That's crazy.
I never thought about it like that. Wow.
Yeah.
So, and you know, to take a step back to that was very powerful. To take a step back to, like you said, you didn't know you could buy fractional stocks.
Right.
I didn't know how easy it was to buy stocks. I'm there thinking you gotta have some stockbroker on the phone with him, and he's in the thing like, hey.
It was.
Like on the
it
show,
was.
the move. I don't know nothing
Trading
about
places.
nothing.
Trading places.
Yeah, bro. And the Wall Street, like, just so. I thought that's what it was. So I'm thinking, nah, there's too much confusion, dog. I'm not into them. But then Andre told me, like, yo, it's just downloading this app on your phone.
Right.
You get access to see the daily reports. You could download YouTube Finance to see it for free in real time and buy the stocks as they're coming in. And that changed everything for me to realize it's done by my fingertips.
Right.
The process of getting the app and creating an account took what, a couple of days to fully authorize?
Yeah, just because you got to verify your bank.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, easy. Yeah, it'd been quick.
And once you verify your bank, it's like transactions are quick.
Exactly. It's instant. Yeah.
Right? And all of the just how easy it is what we're trying to get out there too. And another analogy to kind of to bring it back home is look at it as well like Boxing Day sales, Black Friday sales.
Right.
You know, what are you guys doing during those days, right? You guys go in the magazine now, you go on Amazon, wait for Amazon Prime Day, you go search up what sales there are.
Right.
To buy something that's going to end up in the back of your closet.
Right.
Anyway.
Right.
So instead of that, forego that, go on these apps, see the prices and shop for the best sales.
Right.
And the learning process is finding that out. What are the best sales prices? And, you know, that'll tie into the next question. How do you determine what's a good time to buy?
There's this thing people have been saying is buy the dip. I'm not really the biggest believer in buying the dip. I like to have a.
You just buy the wine. Not playing. Go ahead.
You ain't lying about that though.
He buys a dip and the nachos and the cheese.
He buys a dip and spread up.
Oh my days.
This is our podcast. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it though. But so I like to buy stocks that are probably 15 to 20% off its high. So like as of right now, as we speak, a lot of these stocks are 20, 40% off its high. We're technically in a bear market right now, which is like recession levels.
Right.
But so right now I'm just buying what I can. Like the price has gone down a lot, but right now it's just staying at one price. I want it to go down a bit more. So I'm just stacking cash as much as I can. Selling all my Jordans, selling all my clothes I don't wear, selling things I don't need, and just stacking as much cash as I can. So when this recession that's supposed to comes, I'm locked and loaded. So next 10 years, 15 years, I'm on a beach somewhere.
Right.
Not worrying.
That's what it's all about, man.
So
that's what it's all about.
It's not a game, but it's a game.
Right.
It's just a game of patience.
Yeah.
So you can just sit back and just watch the market. If it dips by $5, don't react to that. It's just $5. But
Right.
if it's like 20 to 30% off its high, then that's an area I like.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, you know, further to investing, we see the kings of the business. We see, like you said, Apple, Microsoft, ETFs, those index funds. What suggestions or tips would you give to people that, you know, aren't necessarily only about the long game and the patience? Because there's also something called like, what is it, trading or day trading? I don't even know what the
Penny
term.
stocks?
Like the quick money, like.
I'll give you my honest opinion. I'm not a big fan of penny stocks. I think those companies are trading, you need to at least be practicing for a year minimum to be a good trader.
Mm.
Like people get in this game and they just start trading and they shoot their bank account.
Yeah.
So I would recommend start with the long term. Then when you get a habit of things, trade. But you need at least a year under your belt of like practice trading.
And training like requires you on the computer or whatever your device you're using all day.
Yeah, you got to be charting like 12 hours a day. Like you have to memorize signals and
Right.
personally, I don't even like trading.
Yeah.
Like I'll make a 1-2 trade, but I'm not into trading. So I like security.
Right.
I know the fundamentals. I like that more than trading, and I don't have the time to trade, to be honest.
All right. Well, I have my I'm not into stocks as much. I do want to get into it. But talking about security, let's switch from stocks to cryptocurrency.
Oh God.
Now, there's a lot of people wondering or they're concerned about the security with crypto. Are you into crypto yourself?
I'm not heavy, but I'm in it.
Okay. And what are your thoughts on crypto?
I believe it's something that's not going to be stopped, but there's so much things going on in the market right now in terms of banks trying to take it over. Banks are strategically shooting down certain coins, altcoins, so they can have their own stable coin. So right now it's a tough topic. I don't really like speaking about it, especially publicly, because I'm not 100% knowledgeable on crypto, but I just have money in certain coins that I know are stable, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Matic, LSS. So like I'm in a few, but I'm not as much as I am in stocks.
Okay.
Because another thing too is stocks are tried and proven.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is something that's been shown over the course of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Crypto is new.
Right.
So with that comes a level of risk, which we're seeing these days. Like I'm sure, even if y'all aren't into it, if you stumble across the news, I'm sure you've heard of Luna.
Right.
Crashing and burning.
I would never expect that because I was watching Luna 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I was watching the highs, like, it's pretty high. This is running. But then all of a sudden, it was like almost a penny now or something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I would just say tread lightly, do your research, especially with crypto.
Yeah.
But I'm in it, but not too heavy. Like, I don't have a lot of money in it.
Okay.
Cool. So with the crypto space now, as we bring that up, we might as well bring up NFTs. Mm-hmm. You into that space as well, or again you like
studying it? When I seen it, I knew it was something that was gonna crash. Yeah. It's declined by 95% since the highs. A lot of the leaders in it I don't like, especially the fact that they're mocking us in a way. I'm not sure if you've seen a lot of the NFTs that are selling for millions of dollars.
Right.
Monkeys.
Right.
The monkeys, the apes. I'm not really a fan of that. Right. So when I seen that, I was like, that's racist. Like I looked at it.
It's scary how we're in both of these conversations and this topic has come up in each of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Where we're talking about heavily investing into money and trading.
Yeah.
All of a sudden racism comes back into the fold and it's scary. It's scary.
I don't know what their obsession is with us. I don't know why they're so obsessed with us so much that they have to create digital art imitating us and selling it.
We're the chosen ones, yo. We're the chosen ones.
We are.
I always say it.
They envy us. I believe we're the most envied people of all.
We are, man.
Like everybody low-key wants to be us, but they're just so mad that they're not, that they hate us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's a fact.
We are the most beautiful people in this world. Just saying
absolutely.
That. So throw that out there. But yeah, NFTs, not really. I haven't bought anything as of yet. I'm still studying. I think there's a good future for it. Things like tickets and tokens, that can be great, but I'm just watching.
A lot of people don't get it because they feel like it's like art that, you know, that I can, this is technically art I can give to Buzz if I want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I've given, like we bought an NFT and I've given it to Buzz, you know what I'm saying? So, pause, yeah.
You even got a guest on this. Fix your speech by you. No, but facts. I was just like, what do you mean this much money for this? I have it now. What are you talking about? Yeah. So, and then he kind of went through it, but NFTs aren't to be looked at as buying a picture per se, right? If you think about the theory behind it, like at the end of the day, what is this? What is a cell phone?
Right.
It's just some device, but it's how you use it that makes it so special. And the theories around NFTs is what makes it so special. And where I think it'll thrive is like the entertainment field.
Absolutely.
You know? So if you don't know anything about NFTs and this is your first time hearing about it, you want to kind of elaborate on that field if you have a knowledge base?
I would say do your own research. As far as I know, it stands for
fungible token.
Yeah. So I'll say do your research. I'm just watching from the outside, just looking in.
Yeah.
I know they're using a lot of celebrities to con you into buying it, and then once they raise it to a certain amount, they sell,
Right.
and they're out.
Right.
And then they leave it to the people who are trying to make a
Right.
living for themselves. So
Right.
just watch it. We have lots of time. There's always new technologies coming out. So just, you don't always have to dash your money into something that's brand new. As much as, you get FOMO, which is a serious drug because sometimes you feel like you're missing out.
Right.
So I would just say just take time and just do your research.
Right.
Yeah, so something I'm definitely not in right now.
All right, let's jump back to the stocks because I do have a question and something that Buzz always tells me. When buying stocks as a new person into the stock market, what are some areas that areas of stocks that we should buy into? I know we talk about Apple and PC; those are technology. What are some other areas that we should look into to buy in?
Semiconductors.
Okay.
So those are the companies that make the chips, the computers. Like I know that's like I see that's probably NVIDIA right there, no?
Yeah.
I think you were telling me.
Yeah.
So that's one company. Like semiconductors are extremely important.
Okay.
None of our devices can work without them. So the top
Right.
boys I would say is AMD, NVIDIA, and I think it's Taiwan Semiconductors.
Okay.
So those are the top three.
Okay.
Biotech is pretty big as well too. As you already know, they're always trying to alter something
Right.
with
Right.
science. So I'll definitely say that. And also, I'll probably say energy. Now, some people will disagree, but I'll say energy because the way the world's going, fuel's going up, oil's going up,
Right.
things that have to make a change at some point.
I heard healthcare is one too. I'm not sure.
That would probably fall under biotech, in my opinion. There's some good healthcare stocks, like Lilly. Lilly is a great stock.
Okay.
They're a pharmaceutical company. But those are my main focus. I love tech and any other. Oh, water.
Water. Okay.
Water. Water is gonna be a rare. I should say commodity in the near future. It's already being traded right now.
Water.
Crazy. That's a scary thing.
That is scary.
Listen, I'm stacking up water. Like every time I go Costco, I'm buying a case of water. So
just in case
the world is. I think we decreased by 40% the drinkable water.
Wow.
The last 10 years.
And my wife was telling me, and food too, like dry food, because there's places in the world that are going through a famine right now that shouldn't be going through it.
Yeah, like we're in a food shortage too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and to trail back a little bit on the chips, like that's a big thing when I was going to get my car. All cars were on halt because there was a shortage of chips. A lot of things in the market are on hold in terms of mass production because of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a valuable asset. And that computer, has both an AMD CPU and NVIDIA graphics card.
Yeah.
The monitor, same thing. There's internals with almost everything we have electronically needs a chip.
Yeah.
So with that, it was the same theory with Apple. They've got their hand in everything. So go into the companies that have their hand in everything.
Right.
A big one that you messaged me or that you told me about when we had that Zoom interview.
Yeah.
Conversation. When we had that Zoom conversation, McDonald's. I thought that blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
So talk to the people a little bit about that.
One thing about McDonald's, when they see McDonald's, they think about food. But a lot of people don't know is that McDonald's is one of the biggest real estate companies in the world. So how they work is, how they franchise.
Yeah.
So how it works is they buy the land.
Right.
You as a franchisee, you rent the land off me. So you're paying me rent.
Okay.
Plus franchise fees,
Right.
plus food. So what they do is you can't own the land that the McDonald's property is on.
You can't own it. They own it. They buy it.
They own it. So every McDonald's that you see, the incorporation owns that land.
Wow.
So they're really probably the top 5 real estate companies in the world, just at their portfolio. So everywhere in this world, there's probably 10,000 McDonald's
That's
in the world.
crazy.
They own the land.
And you think
So you're telling me the one in Japan they own?
They own the land.
It's wild, bro. And
land.
I'm just thinking it's because the Big Mac's just not popping. Nah, son, it's the real estate.
If it wasn't for the Big Mac, if it wasn't for the real estate, they'll just be like Wendy's. They'll be like a shit company like Wendy's.
Right.
They just had to diversify and have real estate.
Right.
So that's one of the big plays for real estate, McDonald's. And Home Depot. Don't sleep on Home Depot as well.
Oh, yeah?
Don't sleep on Home Depot.
Give us the reason why.
Everything you need to build this world, you either get it from Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah.
So contractors,
Right.
Home Depot.
Right.
Everything comes from Home Depot. So those are the two underrated companies I would say.
One that I saw that was pretty high on the charts was Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Do you know the reason why? Or
Coke's been around for a minute, but they have a huge monopoly on all the carbonated drinks. Okay. Even a lot of the drinks that are in the Caribbean, Coke with them. So they go to every country and tap in and they say, who's making soda? Okay, we're buying you. So Coke definitely has a good monopoly. I think they own about 70% of the market share.
Okay.
And then next is Pepsi, and then the remaining. But
yeah, whoever else.
Yeah.
I heard Airbnb is on the rise. I don't know if that's true. Everybody traveling again.
I'm kind of iffy on it. I think that people are over Airbnbs.
Okay.
Compared to when it first hit back in 2008.
Right.
The service of Airbnb is not the same how it used to be.
Okay.
And I think people just feel better in hotels.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't put my money in Airbnb. They're not really doing anything that's innovative.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay.
They don't really have any property, so I would stay away from Airbnb.
Okay.
Because it's also not, it's not just looking at their current success, it's looking at the business model.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because there's several business models that you thought would have been kingpins, which are now crashing and burning because their business model didn't compete with others. Yeah. That's one, for instance.
Yeah.
I think another one I would safely say is Uber.
Oh yeah, they never been profitable. They only had like one profitable quarter since they IPO'd.
Yeah. But even still, we all use it.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's profitable and probably would have longevity.
Yeah. They have a lot of debt. That was their main thing. They IPO'd with a lot of debt.
Okay.
They're still paying for it. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to close like that segment of investing in stocks, unless you had more points.
No.
So to close investing of stocks, give people like a top 4 or 5 that if they're just starting in, it's not you're telling them to do it, but this is your suggestion of safe plays.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I like Apple, Microsoft. I like VOO, which is an index fund. I like VTI. I like Tesla, Amazon.
Tesla volatile, man.
Yeah, it is. if you don't have the stomach for it, don't be in it. Don't even look at it.
Because remember how he said don't time the market?
Yeah.
So I just bought Tesla. I think it was like 1,200 at the time.
Yeah.
I bought half of a stock.
Right.
A couple months later, I'm seeing the stocks at the same price.
Right.
A full stock is now the same price I bought it for.
Oh, wow.
At half.
Right.
So it's difficult. Like you shouldn't time the market per se, but it hurts to see that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So now my half stock that I bought is now depleted and is worth half of a current stock.
Wow.
Whereas Apple, like you don't really see that up and down, and down.
Right.
I did see a moment in time where the stock went up to 1,400, and I was eating off that, you know. But that's a good point.
Yeah. So
Tesla and what else?
Say AMD. I like Nvidia as well.
Yeah.
What else? I know I'm missing one. Oh, I like VGT. So that's like index for like all the tech companies in S&P 500.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So it's like more of a safe play.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is important.
Yeah.
I definitely want to touch on real estate as well. But before we get into that, just to draw back on the NFT conversation and the blockchain or whatever the case is, just to reinforce the importance of that field. Like it's not just selling pictures of monkeys or anime or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
As I use the analogy of a phone, it's how you use it. So the utilization of NFTs becomes important when it comes to ownership.
Right.
You now own your intellectual property, your digital property.
Right.
And the way that works in terms of like, let's say an artist, let's just say they have a song. They can now sell this song or NFT project attached to their artwork.
Right.
And the only way you can get access to that is by buying an NFT.
Right.
But now that you have that NFT as a consumer, every time you flip that on the market, the original person that's selling it gets a cut out of that.
Right.
So you have ownership over that product.
Right.
Whereas before, like you're dealing with record labels, if we're talking about music, Hollywood or whatever, if we're talking about movies, and you're under their wing.
Right.
So they're dealing with all of the residual income that's coming in, royalties. They have capital on that.
Right.
Whereas these days, like you could clearly see, especially as the digital world is changing, the creators is the ones that's driving the sales.
Right.
It's not necessarily these big corporations. They just fund the money to allow the creators to do what they do.
And the people behind it too. It creates a buzz. Like the one that we bought, that me and Tasha bought. Like nobody would know about it if it wasn't for the people.
Exactly.
So like the people ultimately are driving it as well.
Yeah. So just thinking about that fact of ownership and eliminating, like, quote unquote, the middleman to get the money.
Right.
You're now having direct access to the money.
Yeah.
And this is all done in a digital space, and that's clearly where the world is going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, again, bringing up the cell phone.
Right.
Just like how this cell phone used to be a Zach Morris phone at a point in time.
Yeah.
Right now, these Oculus things are some big ski goggle looking.
Right.
But eventually, they're going to be ingraded and implemented into your glasses.
Right.
Oh, they already got that.
They already have
Yeah,
it.
they got the
This girl
Ray-Bans.
took a picture of me in Ottawa on the boat cruise with her glasses, bro.
Right.
The camera and the thing. I was like, what? That alone blew my mind. But imagine that's soon gonna be VR.
Right.
You know, and that's where the world is going.
Even when the show, remember the show that you were watching? I can't remember, but they had like
Black Mirror.
They already have that out.
where you
They
can
really
take
have
pictures
that
with
out.
your eyes, bro.
Yeah.
They already have that out. Yeah, so
Crazy.
I think sooner or later we're not even gonna have phones. I think it's
Yeah.
all gonna be like
Yeah.
in your brain. So
All of it. And imagine, like, generally speaking, there's obviously people out there that are more of an active person that just like activity.
yeah,
But on a general standpoint, when it comes to human beings, we're always quickest to do the laziest thing possible.
Right.
And if that's the route we're going,
Right.
just think about it. We're going into a visually digital world where it could go so far as to put a chip. They've already started putting chips in humans.
yeah.
What if that gets to the point where they put a chip in you and now your entire nervous system feels everything that's going on in these VR glasses? You literally just have to be put in a pod at a certain, like, it could get to that level
I think it will. to
where
be
you're
honest.
put in a pod and now you're just roaming digitally
Right. Right.
and you feel like you're in real life.
Right.
Think about that. And if that's the way the world is going, you might want to start to at least study the
Right.
digital space.
Right.
You know? And a lot of things like what I just said in terms of that is digital real estate. That's on the come up too. And there's literally digital properties that are either as much or more than
Actual real
literal
estate.
properties in our lives.
Yeah,
Which I don't get, bro.
At all.
I can't.
it's a metaverse player. I know Snoop Dogg's killing it right now.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
he just dropped a project and made like $1 million in like 10
Wow.
You
minutes.
see?
So yeah, and they're buying up all the land in the metaverse. So
I don't think I'll ever understand that one, but hopefully my grandkids pick up on it because grandpa won't. Let's talk about some of the people, because it's the people's podcast. Let's talk about something the people could understand right now, which is actual real estate. So what's your view on that?
that's my next big investment. Like I was saying, you can't time the market, but everything that goes up must fall down. And I'm just here stacking as much cash as I can and just waiting for the proper opportunity. I'm definitely a believer in real estate. I had the chance to get in real estate, but I was young. I was scared money at the time. I didn't want to do it, and I missed out. But I'm older now, and I'm old enough to make better decisions. So everything happens for a reason. But in terms of real estate, I'm definitely waiting for real estate to.
So when you say
pop.
waiting, you think it's gonna crash?
Yeah, like in the next year or two.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
This
Fingers
market's
crossed.
been too hot. At
I
the same
agree.
time, it's going to be devastating for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know we always hope for a crash because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to suffer, but that's when people like us can hop on opportunity.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm not hoping for that level of like crash, but
Right.
I just want the market to come down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want the people them to suffer because when that happens, suicide rates go up,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
domestic abuse goes up,
Right.
the whole
Right.
nine, crime goes up.
Right.
So I just hope that it can decline a little bit so the average people like us can get into it.
Right.
You know?
It's definitely something to have awareness about. So it's
Yeah.
good you bring that up.
Yeah.
Real estate in general, like I recently tried to think about getting into that. I couldn't do it alone.
Yeah.
Went in with my sister. We still don't even have a pre-approval enough to like get something reasonable
Yeah.
near us.
I ain't
And
gonna
if we
lie to
go
you.
far,
Yeah, believe it or not, the States is a great market too.
Oh yeah.
Just for shits and giggles, I applied for a mortgage in the States and I got approved.
Oh,
Like
yeah?
a nice property. And I didn't go through it, but just to see if I was able to.
got you.
The States is a great market, especially places like St. Louis. Well, I used to say Georgia, but that market's hot now.
Right.
Even in Cleveland, for example, you can get a property for like 60 grand, flip it, or even rent it out, which is my goal. I'm not really into flipping. I like the long term.
Right. Right.
But the States is a good opportunity if you can, one, get there often, or two, if you have someone trustworthy
Right. Yeah.
to look after the property.
Right.
I didn't have those two, so I didn't bother. But if you do have someone in the States
Yeah.
that you trust,
Yeah.
that could be a good play for you as well too.
I was talking to Jasmine the other day, and she was saying like even internationally, a lot of her clients are buying like Mexico or what's another place they said?
Colombia.
Colombia, Turks and Caicos.
But you
Well,
got to
just
be
buy-
aware of taxes, though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. Be aware of the taxes, because CRA will get you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so factor that in.
The real cartel.
Legit.
Forget Apple.
Death and taxes, only thing guaranteed in life.
Yeah.
So
That's a fact.
And I owe this year. Let's just say that.
Yeah. That's that,
But
bro.
it's okay. It's not much.
Lucky you. Imagine me when tsunami's all said and done. People always like sitting there thinking, yeah, these guys making serious bread.
it's not that
When
easy.
you really like boil down the numbers after expenses, after taxes, because we're actual businesses,
Right.
it's really not what you were like envisioning in your head. That I'm going home to lay down and throw a bunch of money in there and just play up in it, like set it off. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Listen,
But facts though.
running a business is not easy. That's the thing. People don't respect the fact that you can run a business. They want to nickel and dime you.
Yeah.
So, with an event like Tsunami, think about it. You have a huge venue. You got DJs. You got entertainment.
I'm glad
Your
you're
setup.
saying. I'm glad you're
Yeah,
saying.
like,
this
I
shit.
know.
I'm glad you're saying this.
You have the setup because you guys like to think above the box. So I like that. You guys have the setup, security, whatever else, all the water guns and stuff you be buying. They don't factor that in, and then you got to pay to clean up at the end. So like it adds
We
up.
haven't even talked about the investing into the promotion,
Permits even. I don't know.
permits,
Yeah.
costs that come up after the fact. You know, the BS that always comes up.
Yep.
There's so many things, but no, Busby's chest is too high. Miss, anyway. And you know, somebody had the nerve to message me today. The nerve to be like, hey, so I was there in Tsunami last year. You know, I don't want to miss this year. But to be honest with you, 75 is too steep because of my costume. And
How's that your fault?
Okay. I want to know if maybe you could do 65 or even 60 if possible.
They tried though. They
If
tried.
$15 is really a determining factor for you whether to leave your house or not, please don't come to my party.
Facts.
One. And two, did you go to the mass camp and ask them for $15 off?
Facts.
So don't come to me. Did you go to the gas station and ask for it? No. These things are really getting under my skin, but it gotten to a point where like people have had to speak to me and be like, yo, people are always gonna have something to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know who you are.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
give
And
them
if
energy.
when I do make the money that I make, it's not to go and buy a Tesla.
Right.
It's to go and buy Tesla stocks,
Right.
but also to employ people to grow stuff like this podcast,
Right.
so that all of our community could start getting knowledge to grow,
Yeah.
and make their own money. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe you $15. Come out of my DM. You understand?
If you can't afford the party, respectfully, don't.
Respectfully.
Yeah, don't.
But still,
what
if you
it
can't
is.
afford it, I'm not telling you have to be here.
Facts.
You don't go to other people with those puppy dog eyes. Don't come to me with that.
Right.
And to be honest, I just have to have a closed eye to that.
Right.
Now, you know, with everything we've talked about, the bottom line is money. Give the people some ways of building your capital. And so maybe like not necessarily like get a better 9 to 5, like practical ways that people could implement.
I want to say this first things first. Every person should have life insurance.
Okay.
Our community, we sleep on that heavily.
Yep.
Like funerals are not cheap.
Yep.
Sadly, I've had to experience it. It is not cheap.
Yep. Luckily,
Luckily, my mom and dad are smart. We're smart. Well, rest in peace, my dad. But my mom is a smart lady.
Right.
She had that on lock. She had that. So when I was 19, she said, you need a life insurance policy.
Yep.
When you're 19, you're not thinking about death,
Yeah.
realistically speaking. But if you have a child and you love them and you care about them,
You
life
need it.
insurance. I
Yeah.
think that's like the first step.
Yeah.
A policy when you're 19 is like $20 a month.
Yes.
You get that at Twilight. You buy wings and a beer.
Exactly.
You probably spend more than
Yeah.
$20.
Facts.
So that's $20 a month for a guarantee of at least $300,000 to $500,000 when you pass. So that's like the real start of generational wealth.
Yeah.
I don't rate Donald Trump, but that's how we started.
Yeah.
His dad had a life insurance policy. He took that, bought property. So I'm tired of seeing GoFundMe pages, to be honest. I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but I'm tired of seeing it because life insurance is pretty cheap, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
So I say that's like the groundwork for wealth. So start there. If you care about your kids, or if you have a wife or a husband,
Yeah.
life insurance.
Yeah.
So I'll say that's the start. Then if you need more money, I'm not a fan of working a part-time job where I have a full-time job, because I think you're just giving away more time for your money.
Right.
So you can take your money and buy assets that make money for you. One thing my cousin did that I think that's smart. He bought a bike, because bikes in Toronto are popping.
Yeah.
He bought that bike and rented out. He bought it for I think $2,000, and he rents it out for like I think $5 a month.
Oh wow.
Something like that. Smart. So there's so much ways to make money. Like use technology, be creative. I'm not saying there's a 1, 2, 3 step to how to make money, but you could be creative when it comes to making money.
If I'm not mistaken, in your stories, were you showing something like you're renting your car or something along those lines?
Yeah. So there's an app called Turo. I discovered it when I went to Cali.
Okay. Was that TURO?
TURO.
TURO, yeah.
Yeah. So you can rent your car peer to peer. So I discovered it when I was in Cali. It was big out there in 2017. I wanted to rent a car. The rental companies were so expensive.
Right.
I just did a quick Google search. I seen Turo rent my car. So I just clicked on it, curiosity. And I booked a van that would have cost me $1,000 in LA. I paid $3.
Wow.
Yep. So then fast forward, I went to Miami Carnival. I needed a car again.
Right.
And the car market, it was crazy expensive.
Right.
So I remembered I booked a car from Turo. Sure. So then I see this guy. He's like, oh, sorry, I had another delivery. I had 2 other cars delivered. And it just clicked in my head. Like, I can do the same thing.
Right.
The Toronto market is pretty strong. So I did the same thing. I came back, me and my brother, we did the math. We figured out which cars are hot in the city.
Right.
And we bought a BMW. And we put it on the platform. Within an hour of putting it on, it got booked.
Wow.
Yeah. So me and my brother, we do a lot of things. We put our money together and we grow. So I'll definitely say, like, if you have someone that you really trust, put your money together and do things. You don't always have to be the top boy and everything. You don't always have to be the big boss.
Right.
You can always have a team.
Right.
So me and my brother, we do everything together. Like anything money-wise, we do together.
Okay.
That's how it starts.
Right.
But one of the key words that you said there was brother.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody out here is y'all brother or sister. And doing those things with friends and people who aren't like-minded per se,
right?
You gotta be very careful.
Very careful, definitely. Luckily, I trust them with my life.
Yeah, exactly.
Not many people have that, but there are people that are business-minded and where you can have an agreement. You can have a legal agreement.
Right.
It's my brother. I don't need no paperwork with him. But there's other people. Like, I know you guys are close. I know you probably trust each other.
Yeah.
So you can do the same thing, but as long as you have that faith and that trust, endless. Opportunities are endless. So like next thing for me, we're gonna build wealth from that car. We're gonna take that asset, turn it into a liability, take the cash that we make from that car and put it into real estate. And just grow from there. Because personally, I don't drive that car. That car is too expensive to drive.
Right.
I drive my Mazda. Like legit. If it's not rented, it's sitting on my driveway. I don't need to flex in a BMW.
Right.
Like, and on top of that, gas, like
premium gas, like $230. Oh, like my goodness.
Let the customer deal with that.
Mm-hmm. I just put it on my driveway or drop it off to wherever they want it to be dropped off. That's it.
So that's how it works? You just leave it there, or you drop it to somebody?
Yeah, so how it works is I have a designated area where I park it up where it's free delivery, so they can pick it up from there. But if, say, they don't want to come to Scarborough or downtown, I deliver it to them for like a fee of $100.
Gotcha.
Wow.
And then if they coming through the airport, which last recent few weeks, a lot of people have been traveling.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of airport deliveries, so I charge $150 for the delivery.
Right.
Leaving a little pocket change to get the car out of the garage,
right.
and I'm on my way. So it really helps that I have my brother because he drives behind me.
I was about to say.
Yeah, he drives behind me, and we just boogie out there. Yeah.
Because the alternative would be taxiing or Ubering home.
Exactly. That's
cutting into
just eating it. Yeah,
margins.
yeah.
Smart.
So we don't spend the money that we make. The loan and the insurance, we pay out of our pockets, but we let the cash that the car makes sit in one account, let it grow.
Okay.
And then once we're ready to move on from the car, put it into the real estate. And then keep moving.
It's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So Turo, definitely. If you guys have a car sitting around doing nothing, I don't know if a lot of people work from home.
Yeah.
Put on the app. If you have an emotional attachment to your car, don't put it on.
Yeah.
I know how I treat rental. So I don't really want anybody.
You're going to get scratches. You're going to get, it's wear and tear. So if you love your car dearly, don't put it on the app. But if car don't mean nothing to you, just slap it on. There's extra income. So there's so many ways to make money.
Yeah.
It's sitting in your driveway. Why not?
Exactly.
There's a lot of practical things like that out there, people, and you don't have to feel suffocated. Just utilize what you have and do your best to grow it. You mentioned something quick earlier that Dron did too, was sell your J's.
Yep.
You don't need 300 pairs of J's, 200 pairs of J's just sitting in your closet.
Yep.
sell 100 of those, take that money and invest it in the stock market.
Exactly.
Put them in the ETFs and the index funds. Now that money's growing 9.5%, you said?
Yeah. On average, yeah.
On average. When it was just sitting in your closet waiting for you to wear the right outfit.
Yeah, stop buying designer clothes. Stop buying expensive gear.
Unless you could afford it.
Unless you can
And
afford
like,
it.
maybe let it be a luxury once in a while.
Yeah,
Don't go-
you could spoil yourself. There's nothing wrong with that because you live once. But don't live your life to buy all that.
Right.
2 years later, you're going to dash it.
Right.
Give it to somebody else. So I would say live within your means. Stop spending your money on you don't need.
Yeah.
You know, live on a strict budget
Yeah.
and just grow your wealth. And partner with your friends. Partner with your family.
Yeah.
Like I said, you ain't got to be the top boss all the time.
Yeah. One thing I found out recently before we get to our last round. Or do you have any
No.
So one thing I heard recently which resonated with me was stop looking at cash as a tool to buy. Look at cash as a tool to get you to where you want to be, to grow.
Leverage.
Leverage.
Yeah.
You know, cash is a tool instead of a commodity that you use to get what you want.
Yeah.
And if you understand that theory and start utilizing that money for gains and growing ideas, because like you said earlier, there's things that all these richest people in the world have in common. Not one of those did you say a 9 to 5.
Right.
But that's what we're all subscribed to because that's the life we were taught. That's the right one to live.
Right.
That's not, none of those guys are doing that.
Right.
What got them to where they are? Their ideas,
Right.
their ability to partner with people, utilize their wealth and their lucky situation. Because the people that are popping, 9 times out of 10, they're like the one out of tens or hundreds of thousands of people that are trying to get to that point.
Yeah.
They're the one person that got there.
Like if you look at it, the wealthiest people dress very simple. Like
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Chelsea Football Club. It was just sold for $4.3 billion. The owner is Todd Bowley. If you see the way this man dress, shirt, pants, sneakers,
That's it.
Ray-Bans, not no Gucci's.
Right. Yeah.
He looks like an average citizen.
Right.
Wow.
But he just bought the company, the football club, for $4.4 billion.
Jeez.
So you don't always have to be flashy.
Right.
I say that the most flashiest person is always the brokest.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Like I say all the time, it's like these guys, like our people especially, they like to drink.
That lifestyle
They
too,
like to drink that champagne, expensive champagne on ginger ale belly. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta get a t-shirt.
Facts.
But like, and what I'm saying, that's just how you guys have to think about money. Money is not something to get to pay the bills.
Right.
Money is something you get to fund ideas that you could leverage to take you to a place where money is not even a concern of yours anymore.
Yeah.
That's the idea of money, and that's what you need to subscribe to. Like, again, these people utilize their money to invest in financial advisors, to invest in understanding certain spaces, real estate, a team. Like, yeah, again, y'all seeing a big crowd at Tsunami, but how long have we been doing this podcast?
Long time.
This is the first time where I got under that mental,
Right.
understanding, and the first time actual money will be coming in.
Right.
Where I'm saying I'm not gonna go take that and go buy a Range Rover,
Right.
which I would love to do,
Right.
but I'd rather take that money and now pay all of y'all
Right. And
so that we could take this more serious,
Right.
and now it'll reach more people, which helps our whole community.
Exactly.
And once you help the community, they just generally want to help you back,
Facts.
and the whole thing elevates
Right.
one step at a time.
I like that. So it's a team thing. Like, I'm a huge fan of Dame Dash, and he said one thing. He said, "What's better, me pulling up with Rolly in a Lambo, or all my family pulling up with Rolly in a Lambo?"
Facts.
Right.
You got to get this together as a team, and
Right.
that's one thing I feel in our community we don't work together.
Yeah.
So me, my brother, my cousin, my boy, we're working together. We're trying to start this foundation so their kids, our kids, can have the same thing growing up. I know you guys already started what you guys are doing, so
Yeah.
that's all it is. Don't be afraid to collaborate, especially with your own, because if you look at the Indians, the Chinese, I
Like
admire
say that
them.
all the time, bro.
I admire them because they
Right.
work together.
Right.
They work together.
Right.
That's a fact.
They give business to each other.
Right.
So
Right.
same thing. You gotta work together.
Work together for sure. And
As easy as it sounds.
yeah, like it could be a headache at times, but again, if it's like-minded and who you trust,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So we'll get to a quick speed round and then we'll get out of here. We appreciate you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Now this speed round is just we on a weekly basis we talk about 4 subjects when we don't have a special guest, and those 4 subjects are just the general ones that people we feel could, if you had a better understanding on, our culture could evolve.
Yeah.
And those 4 topics I'll call one by one and just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Cool.
Whatever it is. So the first one, relationships.
First thing that comes to mind?
Yeah.
Foundation.
Like it.
That's
like
one
it.
thing. I know you. So I'm gonna add more to this.
Yeah, do your
knowing your goals. Like, what do you want out of this relationship? So I would say, you guys both got to be on the same level.
Yeah.
So my previous relationship, I wasn't on that. She's an intelligent lady. She knew what she wanted, but at the time I didn't know what I want. So if you have that imbalance, it ain't gonna work.
Nah.
Yeah.
Sucks.
And another thing that I saw this week was like, what was it? Find somebody that understands you, so you don't have to spend the rest of your life trying to translate your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was huge because I fell in the same wavelength that you're talking about. Next one, wealth.
I can go on that. So you can't get it by yourself.
Dope.
Don't say that.
Dope. Team effort.
Yeah.
Health.
Health is wealth.
Mm.
Health is wealth.
That's the first redundant answer we've got.
Yeah.
Like somebody said that last time. Big up Nicole. Then the third one, entertainment.
Don't overdo it.
Okay.
Nice.
That was my big lesson, especially from that's the thing about COVID that humbled me.
Yeah.
You know, I was at every fete.
Yeah.
That adds up. As much as I love fetes, soca music, all that, it adds up.
Right.
So I had to pick and choose which event. So I'll say, take time with it. It does add up.
That's a fact. And you know what's crazy? Like, we're getting out of this situation, the pandemic. And I thought naturally parties will be packed. People will be happy to be back out. And then you really realize when the parties aren't as packed as you thought, and you're talking to people, they're like, yo, I really realize how much money I saved just not going outside.
Right.
Yeah.
And people don't really like I said earlier, I go on trips, but I never calculate my spending.
Yeah.
If you actually sat there and calculated down to your outfit,
Yeah.
how much money you spent going out to one party, and then you're going to 2-3 of those a weekend, it amounts.
I had to tell some of these young fetters, not every fet that you have to go to. Save your money, stay home. We're us promoters aren't gonna be upset that you don't come to our party. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we would like to see you there, but if it means, taking the time to spend at home, even not just spending money, just for your mental state.
Yeah.
Stay home.
You have to stay home.
Yeah.
Because even getting there, gas,
right,
entry,
right,
you might buy a drink
for you and your person or whoever you're with.
Right.
They might selling corn soup, jerk chicken at the end. That adds up.
Right.
So it adds up.
Right.
So,
and then you want to go chop that girl that wants all your money after. That was a liability.
Or if you want to go to Markham Station.
I do not want to get no. Okay, all right.
Don't remember those days.
Let me cut that conversation one time, because if we only go there, yo, you know what's crazy though?
What?
I lost the food that I bought, bro.
What do you mean you lost it?
I was so drunk. I don't know where I put the food, dog. It's somewhere in the crib. 'Cause I brought it from your car. I rested it somewhere.
That's gone, yo. So
Yeah,
your mom definitely dashed that.
Probably. It's probably in the garage or something. I was lit. Last but not least, before we close out, where as we're talking about entertainment, where are some places that the general consumer could go and get entertainment about the topics we've discussed today?
Atlanta. If you go to Atlanta or Houston, they have a couple of actually a lot of showcases. They have InvestFest out there. So if you want to be in a like-minded area, definitely Atlanta, Houston. A lot of black entrepreneurs out there.
Wicked.
Even one you told me about that I've been heavily involved in or invested in was EYL.
Yeah.
And Market Mondays.
That's my Bible. Every Monday. Your Caribbean parents go to church.
Yeah.
EYL, that's my church.
Yeah.
Market Monday is my church.
You watched this past week?
He went off.
Ian was going off,
Yo,
bro.
he went off.
Yeah, you have to
You have to
mute the
mute
man.
it.
And he's still standing up like, like, bro, chill.
I love that. I love that energy
Yeah.
because he was preaching.
Yeah.
So definitely.
They said some gems in that episode. We're gonna bring on. We'll bring those next week.
Yeah, that was an amazing episode. After we watched that back too.
But that content, man, that changed my life. Like even just the simple thing I told you about funding this project.
Yeah.
That was me watching EYL on a random episode about credit. And the guy brought up the fact that, don't look at credit as something bad. Look at it as something that you use to fund your ideas.
Right.
Because you might not have that capital, but if you use the credit and build your credit score, you now have millions of dollars to play with and still keep your money intact.
Right.
But you just have to do it smart. And when he said that, he was just like, use that money to fund your ideas. And that's when it clicked, like, instead of us just like coming here and shooting it each and every week and then fumbling and putting out something Monday morning or whatever, treat it like a business, invest in it, and pay people to actually like make it grow. And it's not just doing it for us, because we're bringing topics here that are valuable to everybody.
Right. Facts.
So growing our community is key.
Speaking a language that our community understands. Sometimes we hear other people speak, it's just gibberish. But you got to break it down to how we speak. Especially Caribbean people, because ignorant. Ignorant.
What I tell you when we had that Zoom? I told him, treat me like I'm 13. I don't have no money in my bank account, and you're now telling me about investing. I literally had to tell him those exact words verbatim. And he did that. And then now look at me, like I'm actually involved. But before that, I'm checked out. Like back to.
We know, man. You don't read.
Like when you say quantitative easing.
All right. Okay. With that being said, we'd like to thank you. Let them know where they could find you and interact with you, whatnot.
Travelwithpapi is my Instagram name. I'll be doing a couple carnivals this year as well too. St. Lucia, St. Kitts. Big up St. Kitts. That's where my family's from.
Nice. Okay. I'm in both of those.
You already know what's going on over there. Big up Sugar Band, New Vibes, Collision Band, Small X, Akaya Sweet, Grandmasters.
Bop.
So you'll be familiar.
Yeah. I went or he got me a booking out there in St. Kitts.
Yeah, wicked.
So I will be there end of year. Okay. I might actually be celebrating New Year's.
Wicked.
I will be celebrating
on the road.
Yeah.
We have the best. We have the best time. No bias. We have the best time for a carnival. New Year's.
Yeah.
Bringing the New Year on the road. Come on, man. I'm not saying we have the best carnival, but we have the best time.
Right.
Yeah.
That's dope. I didn't even think about it like that. And I'll be in St. Lucia too. That's a month away, bro.
Yeah.
We gotta
get back on the treadmill, you know?
Yeah. Facts. And then Caravan, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
So you ready for Tsunami, dog?
Been ready. I have a song request, but after camera.
After camera.
I don't do song requests, but I have a song request that I need to hear.
Got you.
Yeah.
And last but not least, so that you told them where they could find you.
Yeah.
You've also organized an itinerary for Toronto Carnival. So where can they find that?
TheHighJourney.com. If you go on the top right, you'll see blogs. So if you click that, you'll see pretty much your whole guideline for Toronto Carnival and St. Lucia. And I'm gonna be dropping St. Kitts pretty shortly as well too. So you'll be able to have packages for St. Kitts. So if you haven't been to St. Kitts Carnival, I'll have a concierge service ready for you. So you ain't gotta do nothing. Just pack your luggage.
For real.
I'll have everything covered for you. Yeah.
Might come, man. Might come.
If I
don't go to Japan.
This guy came into the studio just now, dapping all the man. Like, yo, we outside this Sunday, dog. We outside Juve Sunday. This man is so ready to party.
I'm ready for Sunday, so I can't lie.
Yeah. I know. All right, yo. Let's get on it. Let's discuss the song request in Juve. With that being said, guys, have a good one. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the People's Podcast. Thank you, Travelwithpapi.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
No
I'm a fan
problem.
of this, by the way. So appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. And definitely not the last time. We'll have you back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We'll do a part 2 and catch up on.
Definitely. I bring the whole crew here so the team can talk too. So
okay,
there you go.
And expect some growth by the time we do the next podcast.
All right.
No, for sure. Yeah, man. So, People's Podcast, thank you for tuning in. Remember to tell a friend, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you thought about the episode down below. And we'll see you next week on the People's Podcast.
Peace.